This is what I love about the experiment, is that my dinner's all ready to go. This is the chicken soup that I meal prepped earlier this week.
The total on groceries I spent was $90.21, so that's almost half my grocery bill in the first week.
Hi, I'm Tahnee Jash and I'm a reporter with the ABC Everyday team. And over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be trying and testing some money hacks or some saving tips to test whether they work or not. I'm going to try 4 main tips. Meal prepping my meals in advance, trying to think about ingredients that I can make multiple meals out of, looking at what's on special at different supermarkets. The amount that I spend, I will round that up to the nearest $10 and see how much that adds up across the 4 weeks. So before starting this experiment, what I would usually do is go shopping on a Sunday, and that grocery shop would usually get me to about Thursday. And then from Thursday onwards, I find myself buying a lot of takeout. So that's about 2 to 3 meals a day, which adds up quite a bit. So this time around, what I'm going to try and do over the next 4 weeks is go shopping every Friday and every Tuesday. Shop for enough food that will last me across the entire week to see if that will help me eat out less. So I had a look at my bank statement over the last month, and in total, I spent $752.10 on my grocery bills. Eating out came to a total of $621.85, and I was really shocked at that.
So I've just come back from the supermarket and I'm just thinking about some of the challenges over the past week. Having the same meals for a number of days got a little bit old, I must say, which also then started to tempt me in wanting to eat out. That also, I think, is something to keep in mind, that it does take a little bit of time in terms of, researching what's on special where, what you're going to eat for the week, writing a list, looking at your pantry, all of that sort of stuff does take a little bit of time. The total I spent on takeaway this week was $85, down from $155. So that's also, again, almost splitting the bill in half. My roundup strategy, which is where I take the amount that I've spent, round it up to the nearest $10, and that difference I transfer into a savings account. So the amount that I've put away this week has been $80.37, which is, pretty good. So it's week 2 of our money experiment, and I'm coming to you from my bedroom. So I didn't do too bad. In terms of groceries, I spent $108.88, and that was a little bit up from last week by $20.
Just a quick thought while I'm shopping. What's been really working well for me is creating recipes using staple items. So things like rice and pasta, frozen vegetables.
When it came to my takeout, I spent $82.80, which was down from $85. My roundup was $55.70, and that was actually a little bit less than last week. What I'm trying to do as part of this experiment is use those figures that I achieved in week 1 as a bit of a benchmark across the next couple of weeks. So on groceries, I'm trying to stick to around $90 to $100, and on takeaway around the $80 mark. And it's also helping me, I guess, especially with takeaway. That's one of my big challenges. So it became such a habit for me just eating out all the time. I forgot how much of a luxury it is, and now I'm starting to really enjoy the experience again of eating out with family and friends and socializing.
So I'm currently saving up to buy my first home, which has been quite a struggle over the last couple of years. I think, everyone who's looking to buy a house at the moment has been finding it quite tricky. The savings that I make from these tips probably won't make a huge amount towards my house deposit, but it might be able to help me take an overseas trip, which I've been really dying for.
That's actually my first coffee for this week. I've decided to swap my coffee that I buy out for green tea. Another one has been visiting different supermarkets. Even when you visit different stores of the same chain, you can find some savings. So for example, last week I went to a different store. What I noticed was that coconut milk, which I was looking for a curry I was cooking, and when I found it, I noticed that there was a difference in price. It wasn't on special, it was the same brand, use by date wasn't close,
and yeah, it just happened to be marked lower. So I guess that's something to keep in mind as well. In terms of how I'm feeling, I think I'm starting to feel the money experiment now in terms of I feel a little bit restricted. I guess the payoff is seeing how much I save at the end of the week, and it's incredible. Welcome to Tahnee's Cooking School of Greatness. I'm just kidding, I am not that great, but what I am becoming really good at is using up all of my bits and pieces in my fridge and my pantry from my grocery shop. And this is where I usually need to get the most creative, because at the end of each week, that's what I usually find. I'll have leftovers.
Meal prepping is a great idea until you actually have to meal prep. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've got some marinated drumsticks over here. I've got some corn and sweet potato in that pot there. When I actually added this meal up, it came to around about $3.80 or something like that, because everything was on special. So I thought that was pretty good, but I guess that's one of the things that I've found during this experiment is just really the prep and the organization that you need to have in order to be able to save yourself some money is quite a bit. So it's a bit of a pain right now, but it pays off in the future. My takeaway amount, so this is where I really blew out. So it came to $184.30. And you know, I knew it was going to be a challenge. It was long weekend. I had a birthday to go to. And that's the thing about this experiment. Like, I wanted to be really honest and realistic, because that's the thing about life. Like, birthdays happen, weddings happen, and you're not going to sit at home just to save yourself a few dollars.
So it's the end of the money experiment and I made it out alive. So here's a little recap of how I went. The total amount I spent on groceries across the 4 weeks came to $373. And when it comes to takeaway and dining out, I spent a total of $428. Now, when we compare that to the previous month's figures, I saved a total of $379 on groceries, and that's actually half the amount I was spending. When it comes to takeaway and dining out, I saved $193. And if we add those two together, I saved a total of $572 across the 4 weeks. But that's not including the roundup method that I was using. So when we take the total that I saved from doing the roundup strategy, that now comes to a total of $891. And when you think about that over a year, that's projected to more than $10,000, which is pretty incredible, I thought, by just tweaking little things that I was doing each week with my grocery shopping. At the start of the money experiment, I was thinking about an overseas holiday because I hadn't had one in quite a long time. But I just got a letter in the mail that my car rental was due. So that's where my savings is going to go towards.